Morning, everybody. So get started here in just a few minutes. We are expecting a decent amount more to attend. So give everybody a chance to join. Get started. So we'll probably start at about three after. So give everybody another minute or so. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. For you who may not know me, my name is Robert Lyons. I work on Jeff Zobrist's global partner go-to-market team, and I manage the PMA platform internally for Siemens. Let's start by saying, what we're going to cover today. We designed this session to work whether you're new to PMA or have been using PMA for a while. There's a lot of changes coming, a lot of changes we've already started implementing. So if you're already using it, this is about getting more out of it, especially with some of these newer capabilities. Um, First, I'm going to frame the program at just a high level, and then Sherry Foster, who's on the call with us today, she's the founder of our content creation and management partner, Ascendex Digital. She's going to walk you through how to actually maximize PMA value across the different channels we have. She'll also introduce lead forensics, which is one of the most important updates we've added to date. And then we'll close with some best practice around turn engagement and actual pipeline. At the end, we'll have some time for questions. So you can also enter them into the Q&A or chat during the session. And then also, yeah, we'll answer them at the end. So before we get into the actual tactics, just level setting and talk about what's changing. So between what you may have used in the past and PMA, if this is your first time in here. So traditionally, partner marketing means you're building everything yourself. You're writing messages for our complex solutions, creating assets potentially, managing different tools, ads, all those things. We're really trying to flip that model, make things more consistent for you. So instead of building anything and activating yourself, messaging's done. The assets are built. Everything's aligned with Siemens strategy. And so the shift here is pretty simple. We're going to spend less time creating more time just executing and following up. And that's the key point. PMA is not necessarily going to replace all your tools, but it's going to accelerate them by giving you ready to run campaigns that you can start with immediately. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Sherry. She's going to talk a little bit more about the platform and then how to get the most out of it. Sherry?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Robert. Okay. Oh, Robert, I probably should have had you give me control so I could do some demos, but we'll see how we go. Um, all right, so let's talk about the integrated marketing campaigns. And the word integrated is what's really most important here. So if you're new to PMA, this is important to know. And if you're not new to PMA, this is important to remember. So we are talking about helping you to be successful in the buyer's digital journey. So remember what that looks like. So a buyer typically has done 80% of their research and search before they generally talk to a vendor like you. So first thing is you need to be found. The first thing is awareness in that journey. So how are you found? You're found with things like, your content on your website, with search engine marketing. So that is like Google Ads, SEO, search engine optimization. That's how somebody gets found and how buyers find you in the first place. That's how they find your website. That's how they'll find you on LinkedIn, for example. And once they find you, once that awareness is built, then they need to be educated and interest needs to be created. And so that all happens once they land on your landing pages, your website, they check you out on social media. And I'll tell you that they absolutely do that. I can just tell you, I was looking for a company to partner with last week. And I looked up some companies and I looked them up on LinkedIn. And one of the companies had no presence on LinkedIn. They had no people connected. And it really made me question whether they were a serious company that I should be doing business with, I just couldn't tell how big the company was or how many people worked there. They had no posts. And it made me really question the legitimacy of that company. So that's all part of the search, the research, those initial steps in that customer journey. And then once that potential buyer has been educated, once they've started to build some interest, then you want to move them into creating preference. And you create that preference by your credibility, by having lots of good content. I think it's like 72% of buyers say they're more likely to buy from somebody who educates them during that process. So it's not just good enough to get their attention and get them to your site, but you've got to educate them. And so all of the activity that is part of PMA, so the web content is absolutely chock full of lots of white papers and technical briefs and content on the pages, videos, blogs they can, and the nice thing is the entire journey happens with you, right? So when they see you on the web or they see you on social or they get your email, they're always directed back to content that is on your website. So if you think about that journey through awareness, interest, purchase, and beyond, PMA is helping to manage and control that journey through all of those activities. Just doing one of those activities is not going to get you a lead that's going to turn into a sale. Think about that process that all of those buyers are going through. And it's very important that all of these activities work together in a cohesive, integrated way. So we currently have about 150 partners that are activated. Not everybody is participating in every activity, and that's one of the things we're here to talk about today. We are continually adding new content. So Op Center, APS, and Capital were just added last month, so they are now available to you. If you if you are already part of PMA and you're interested in having that content, please go back into the dashboard, go into your marketing center, go into your settings, and make sure you're subscribed to those two new content areas. Okay, that's going to be important. You need to subscribe to them to have access. There's also a brand new digital thread content. So there are 3 digital thread campaigns. Those are all self-serve. They are not part of the automation. There is a landing page for each one. There are anywhere between 10 and 20 assets. All of them are on the landing pages. They're also inside the asset library. If you want to download those and use those, you can. And there are emails that you can use that you can schedule yourself. They all go to the landing page with your logo, not to Siemens.com. All the calls to action are sent to you. So we encourage you, if you're interested in digital threads, if you're interested in using that as your go-to-market messaging, to please go in and leverage those campaigns. They're available to you now. And then we're going to be talking about lead forensics that's now live and integrated in your dashboard. And so we're gonna talk about some of that and why that's really exciting. Next slide. Okay. So we've done some analysis. So we've been doing this now for about 12 months. And at this point, we have had over 8 million impressions co-branded. So Siemens plus partner, 8 million times potential buyers have seen activities from Siemens and its partners. More than 110,000 potential buyers have visited partner sites. So that's because they found it on their website, they clicked on a social media post, they clicked through on email, they clicked through on Google Ads, all of those kinds of activities and over the last year, 110,000 times. And so I'll just remind everybody, if you're not on mute, to please mute yourself because we can hear some background noise. Google Ads. So we started Google Ads in May of last year. We've had over 800,000 impressions across 16 partners, so that's a lot. And 457 leads have come through that. So we're really happy with that. And over time, we've seen the lead quality really increase. The team has been doing a lot of work optimizing campaigns, eliminating audiences that aren't driving the right kind of traffic that we want. So we're really starting to see that continue to improve and increase over time. And as a reminder, Google ad campaigns are 50% funded by Siemens. So they're, you're not going to get a better deal than that. 20,000 people have clicked through on email campaigns. So we'll be talking about automation, but it's really important you subscribe to that automation. There are many email campaigns you can subscribe to. You can also send them manually if you like. That's open to you, but we really encourage you to take advantage of automation so you don't miss out on things. As you can see, we've had really good response from those email campaigns. So we don't want you to miss out on that. We want you to take advantage. And so these are some of the partner outcomes that we're seeing. So one partner who did the SEO campaign with us had an 86% increase in his organic conversions. He said that their form submissions have increased drastically. So people found them on, in search. They went to their website, but more importantly, they filled out the contact us. And so there's clearly a correlation between the SEO work that we did. And I was just on Google this morning and I typed in FEM analysis software and I typed in Washington, D.C. because I'm not in Washington, D.C. So I had to do that. And in the AI overview, I will read you the first sentence. It says, finite element method, FEM/FEA analysis software in Washington, D.C. area is available through local engineering firms, specialized providers like SDA Software and leading software vendors. So not only are they on page 1 of Google, but that partner is in the very first sentence of the Google AI overview. So it's really important that, that they're found when somebody is looking for that kind of software. We're also getting response. We're getting great results so far. So, especially the email, we've gotten really positive results on the social posts and the email. Partners like those. The nice thing about them, just in case you haven't participated yet, it's very flexible. So you can select only what you want. So if you just want post once a week, or if you want post 5 times a week, or if you want one 3-week email campaign a quarter, or if you want, the whole gamut, that is available to you. And we've set it up so that it's very flexible and you can get exactly what you want. Next slide. So this is back to what we were talking about a minute ago about all of the motions in a digital marketing strategy. So we talked about web, email, social, search engine marketing, which is Google Ads, search engine optimization. All of those motions are important. And when we look at all the partners over the last year that have participated in this campaign, if I look at all of the partners who are participating in all 4 of those motions, the average number of visitors that they've had to their site of potential buyers is nearly 5,000, with the top partner has had more than 8,000 visitors to their site. When we look at partners who are only participating in 3 of the 4 motions, they've had around 1,400 visitors to their site. 2 motions, a little over 1,000. And if they're just participating in a single motion, they've had a couple of hundred. So it really is important if you're, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit. If you think about that digital journey and how people make those decisions, and they do a lot of it online, all of those work together. I'll give you an example. So we talked a little bit before about SEO. So let's, and Google Ads. Let's say you're running a Google ad for FEM analysis software, okay? And somebody is searching for that, and your ad comes up at the top. You might not be the only person that's got an ad there, right? We all know when we search on Google, you see the sponsored ads, and there's usually more than one. So there's maybe 2 or 3. Somebody has to decide to click on your ad over the other 2. They might look down the rest of the search engine results page to see what else is there. If they see you're listed in the top of search and you've got a sponsored ad, you're more likely to click on that sponsored ad. If they have seen your post on social media, if they have received an email from you, they might recognize your company name and be more likely to click on your ad. So what I'm saying is that all of these things work together and they each contribute to the overall success of your digital strategy. So if you have a very robust digital marketing team in your organization and you're only participating in 1 or 2 that's contributing to the other work you're doing, that's great. Okay, so that's fine. We're not going to be able to, capture everything that's happening in the work that you're doing that's separate from PMA. But if you don't have a robust digital team, and lots of partners don't, in fact, 80% of partners probably don't, then we really encourage you to participate in all motions because we are seeing return for partners that participate in more than 1 motion. And if you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to us separately and ask us how to make that work for you. Next slide, Robert. So this is a little bit more of the same. So this is a little bit more tactical. So this is what we want you to do. So we want you to make your content findable. So if you are subscribed to the web content, we want to remind you that we want you to put a banner or a link to the page. So you would have gotten that JavaScript and embedded it in your site. And by the way, some partners have not embedded it in their site, and that's okay. You don't have to embed it in your site for it to work, but it's to your advantage to embed that code in your site. And the reason is that when we send buyers to those landing pages, they're going to see your logo, of course, on the landing page. They're going to interact with the content, but your company header and footer will not be there. And so not only do we want to send them to the content, we want to send them to you. So once they're finished looking at that information, I mean, hopefully they'll click a contact us form or give me a demo or a trial form. But if they don't, then hopefully they'll go up to your header, they'll maybe click on and look through what else you have to offer. So first of all, we want you to embed that code for your own good. Secondly, we want you to also help buyers find that content. So let's say somebody just happens on your website, how will they get to that content? So either you can put it in your navigation, which a few partners have done, Or we encourage you to put a banner maybe in your footer, and there are banners available for you in the asset library. Place that banner on your site, or a custom banner, however you want to do it, and then link that banner to the new page that you've created that has the showcase in there. Okay, that way you're just going to get more traffic onto that content. Once you've done that, we want you to subscribe to the automation. So we talked about that before, but it's important you subscribe, because when partners think that they're going to do it manually, it becomes difficult after a while because other priorities take over and you sort of forget to go in there and you're like, oh, I forgot that I need to go in there and I need to schedule things. So it's better to do it with the automation. I'll give you a couple examples. The LinkedIn algorithm rewards accounts that post regularly. So let's say you have 1,000 followers on your company LinkedIn page. If you don't post on a regular basis and one day you post something, there's a very small chance that those 1,000 people are going to see what you posted. And the reason is because you haven't been posting regularly. Even if you subscribe to once a week posting from PMA, I mean, you're welcome to subscribe to five times a week, but as long as you subscribe to one a week, that keeps your page active. And what that means is that those 1,000 people are going to much more likely to see your content. And the other thing is to also participate in that. So when you or your sales team or the rest of your company comments on those posts, the chance that your followers will see that goes up something like 15 times. Okay, so subscribe to that on automation and participate in that. Increase your reach. Invite your contacts to follow your company page. So it's very easy, and there's a video on how to do that in the library. But all you need to do is go into your own personal LinkedIn page, go to your company page. There's 3 little dots. You click Invite Content or Contacts. You click on all your contacts. You invite them to follow your company page. Most people will happily do that. If they're connected to you, they'll follow your company page. If 20 people in your organization invite 100 people each, that's 2,000 new followers on your company page. So super easy way to increase your reach. Have everybody in your company do that. Follow up on your leads. So as leads come in, you're going to get email notifications, and there are different levels of leads. They're not all sales qualified. Some of them are light marketing leads. Some of them are more marketing qualified. There are going to be different leads that are coming in, but we want you to take a look with, so when you get that email, we want you to click on it, go into your dashboard, have a look at that lead, and change the status. So you've accepted it, you've rejected it. Like, let's say somebody downloads an asset, a white paper, and they don't put in their real information. And you know, people often don't do that, right? They might say, hi, my name is Minnie Mouse and I work at Mouse Incorporated, and then they get the document. Well, just decline that lead and don't worry about that. But we want you to follow up on the leads, and remember to please follow up on your leads in the first 24 to 48 hours. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I download gated content myself, when I'm doing my own research, and somebody calls me 2 weeks later and they say, hey, you downloaded a document, I usually don't remember what they're talking about because that was 2 weeks ago. I mean, even 1 week ago, I might not remember what document I downloaded. So, try to do that right away. And then try a campaign. So leverage those MDF dollars. There are extra MDF dollars available to you. There are Google ad campaigns and SEO services in the marketplace. Now, I did see a question pop up about availability of SEO. SEO is available everywhere. So I will be updating the marketplace. If you don't see SEO in your dashboard today for your particular country, we'll be updating that over the next couple of days. It's available in every country, in every region. So there are 8 Google ad campaigns that you can now choose from. We've just added an 8th. So Ops Center APS is now available. The marketplace is being updated with all these new campaigns. And so we really want you to give them a try.
I didn't know about the other language, so I actually heard that you were had extended that to all languages. So I misspoke on a previous question asking about
Oh,
SEO
sorry about
service
that.
and
Yeah,
mentioned that they were English only. So just to
yeah,
clarify,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just comment on that. So, we've talked to our technical team about that, and they've done some tests. And I'll be honest, we definitely use AI. But a lot of, remember a lot of the content that we use AI for, no customer is ever going to see. It's all sort of in the back end as it talks to Google. Anything that's customer facing. Whether it's English or any other language, partners have to review and approve how that works. So I see there's a question about SEO. Let me just give you a very high level. We don't have a lot of time to go in the details. I'm happy to do that. But the way we approach SEO is in three motions. So in order to be on page one or in the Google AI overview or anything like that, three things have to happen. Number one is the technical SEO. So this is where you're sending signals to Google that you have what somebody is looking for. So if somebody is looking for FEM analysis software in whatever city or country they happen to be located in, first thing Google's going to look at is who says they offer that. And that is in things like meta tags and schema and all this technical stuff that only Google sees. So that's a signal to Google that says, hey, we sell that, we've got that. The second thing is Google says, all right, they say they've got it, but do they really sell it? And is it relevant? So now Google's going to go to your website and they're going to see if they can navigate through your website. Can they find the content and is it of very high quality? Just a reminder to put yourself on mute if you're not, please. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at what are the keywords that you want to rank for. We're going to make sure that those are on the pages on your website, and we're going to look at the internal navigation of your website as well, because think of it like plumbing, right? Google's coming in, they've realized there's a signal. Now they're going to, navigate through your website, through all the pipes to see if they can find the information. Is it findable? And then they're going to look to see the quality of that information. The third piece is now they're going to say, and here's Rita, you're like my straight person. The third part is do you have authority? So Google determines that you have authority if people are referring to you. So this is where we build hundreds of backlinks. And this is where we do things like guest posts. We list you in directories. We do press releases. We load videos onto YouTube. All of these things link back to you and to your website. So you signal to Google that you've got what you want. Google can navigate your site and find it, and they determine you've got authority. When all three of those are aligned, you end up on page one, you end up in the AI overview. And I would encourage you, if anybody's got a window open, type in FEM analysis software Washington, D.C., and you'll see exactly what I mean, how SDA software is coming up first. And in fact, SDA software comes up first ahead of Siemens, and ANSYS is fourth. Well, actually, Wikipedia is first, but SDA software is first, then Siemens, then somebody else, Diana Fay, and then ANSYS, and then Autodesk, and then Keytech. So you want to be first, or at least in those top 1, 2, 3 positions. And I went into ChatGPT and I asked about FEM analysis software, and ChatGPT referred SDA software as well. So this works. It helps you to get found. It helps to build your authority. So I sort of went on a tangent there. I'd be happy offline, and if there's any time at the end to answer more questions about SEO. Next slide, Robert. Okay. So your PMA dashboard and monthly reports. There's two ways that you can get information about how things are going. So you have a dashboard. You can come into it anytime and you can see the information about your activity that is there. And like I said before, when you get lead notifications, as a reminder, we want you to go in within 24 to 48 hours, do something with that. Let us know that you've accepted, rejected, whether you're nurturing, all those kinds of things. But also there are monthly reports that you get. So when you participate, you get an automated monthly report, and that's what the little screenshot is there. And I know we can't read it, but it gives you an idea. So we want you to know how many potential buyers visited your site last month, this quarter, this year, all time, because it's important, a lot of times things are happening in the background, especially if you're subscribed to automation, you might not be aware of. So it's important that you know what's happening. How many emails you sent, how many opens, how many people clicked through. And then what we want you to do as well is to go in and find out who clicked through. So for every single email that you have sent, you can go into the email section of your dashboard, click on actions and download the report. Take a look at who clicked through your emails and call them, phone them, um, email them something personal, send it to your sales development team, but, make sure you're following up or nurturing them. If you go into the asset library and you go into follow-up communications, there are call scripts for the solutions that are in there. So if you've got somebody that can make some calls, there's some call scripts you can use. There's some personal email that you can copy and paste and things like that. But we want you to follow up on those emails. We want you to follow up on those leads. That's the whole point of what we're trying to do here. Lead forensics, we're going to talk about in a second. Everybody has access to the dashboard, and we want, following up on this to be a priority. We are starting to report, how long it, are the leads being opened, and how long does it take, for them to be open? So we're starting to get data on that, and we can see at an average that sometimes it's taking 2 to 3 weeks before some leads are even opened. Okay, so now we can see some are being opened same day, next day, absolutely. But the average is closer to 2 or 3 weeks. So please, if you get email notifications, click on those and open them and take a look at what's happening there. Next slide. Okay, let's talk about lead forensics because I know there are some questions about that. So lead forensics is a new tracking technology that has been turned on across all of the landing pages in PMA. So this is going to give you some intelligence, not everybody, because some people can't be tracked, and that's okay. But we're going to get some anonymous visitor data as to what companies are visiting your page. So lots of times somebody might see something that you posted on LinkedIn, for example. They click through, they read, maybe they download some documents that are not gated. They do not click contact us, or maybe they open a gated piece of content and then they close it because they don't want to give their name and address. So no form has been submitted, but we can sometimes tell who those companies are. So we make that visible to you in the dashboard. You get an email about that. And, when we first started doing this last year, we got some feedback that people, like I said before, were putting in, my name is Mickey Mouse and I work for Mouse Incorporated, and they weren't giving, real information. And so this is a way for you to get some intelligence on some of the companies that are looking around your website. They might be starting to build some interest, but they haven't reached out to you yet. So that is not, of course, a sales qualified lead. That is good intelligence for you to know who is showing some interest in some of the solutions that you've got and on what page. Next slide. So what I want to show you here is what it looks like in your dashboard, because there were some questions about how can we tell if it's a lead forensics visitor versus somebody who might be a little bit more farther along in their journey, and a little more qualified marketing lead. So you can see here that I've got a couple of examples of Google ad leads. I mean, I'm using air quotes for leads because obviously there's quite a vast level of qualification. So where it says Google Ads for Partners dash showcase visits, that means that's a visitor that was tracked. Google Ads for Partners without the visitor tracking is a Google ad lead. Okay, so when you see the visitor tracking at the end of that, you'll know that that's a lead forensic. So that is intelligence around companies that are on your site. Okay, that's how you can tell. So if the company is a current prospect, That is good information. That is something your sales team needs to know right away, because obviously that's something maybe they're nurturing, they're working on, and to know that somebody is visiting and poking around on your site at that moment is a great opportunity for you to contact that prospect and say, hey, I just want to talk to you about, you've caught them in the middle of their interest. If it's not somebody you're working with, that's still good information to have. And it's something that you can maybe put in your nurture funnel. And if you don't know somebody, so let's say somebody at, I don't know, a local manufacturer has been looking on your site and it's a company that you know of, but you don't know the people that are there. That's where LinkedIn is really helpful. Go into LinkedIn, look up the company, click on people, you can type in a title and look for the kinds of people that are there. You can start to reach out to them, maybe follow them, maybe connect with them, start to have a dialogue conversation because somebody from that organization has been interested in what you have to offer. So it's early on, but it's good information. Okay. I think I saw something pop up about payment. This is included. This is part of PMA. It's an enhancement that Siemens has invested in, and it's available to everybody. Next slide. Okay, so what's next? So this is exciting. So hopefully at this point, we've talked a little bit about a whole bunch of reminders for everybody who's been participating. Hopefully I've encouraged you to participate in more than one motion. Hopefully I've encouraged you to participate in all of them and shown you how they work together, because we are going to continue to expand the value over time. So more flexibility. So expanded email, social customization. So that is coming in the middle of this year. So a lot of partners have asked about, can I customize a social post before I post it manually? Can I customize emails before I use them? And the answer so far has been no, but now the answer is yes, it's coming. So it is coming in about the Q2 timeframe, but it'll be available to everybody on July 1st. And the reason I say that, yay, thank you for the claps. The reason I say that is that all of the social and email content for April to June has been done. And the reason why it's been done is because it needs to go through translation. So all that translation is actually happening now in the month of March. And as of April 1st, all of the social and email content for April, May, and June will be loaded in the system. We will be moving to what we call V2 in Q2. And so you will then have the ability starting in July to customize images and content for all of that. You don't have to, but if you want to, it's available to you. Okay, smarter automation and better efficiency. So we're also going to be able to have some campaigns in there that will be multi-step. So for example, let me take the digital threads, for example. So we just launched a digital part production digital thread campaign. It's available for you. I think there are about 10 emails in there. And so if you want to run that campaign, you have to look through all the emails, you have to schedule them all, and you have to send them. We're going to have the option to now create campaigns where they're already scheduled, maybe 5 or 10 of these kinds of emails, and they'll have, how many days in between. You just click, launch once and the whole campaign goes. So if that's what you want to do, we've made it easier for you. We will also be building campaigns that have social posts in them. So there will be a mix of social posts and emails, and they will be all in a contained campaign. So if you want to run a particular campaign, we're making it very easy for you. You don't have to pick every tactic yourself. So it just makes it a little bit more streamlined, a little bit easier. We can walk people through a journey in the campaign and tell a holistic story. So that's coming as well. Deeper insight into customer intent. So you're getting the enhanced visibility with lead forensics. So, we obviously that is, we're not giving you names and contact information, but we hope that you will value knowing exactly what kind of companies are looking at your stuff. And then closer alignment between sales and marketing. So connecting campaign activity with pipeline development, clear attribution. So all of these things are continuing to improve as we move through this year. So really excited to bring these enhancements to everybody. Next slide. Oh, over to you, Robert.
Yeah, so no, I mean, there's just some definitely some very exciting things, and the program is still so young. We're still just getting started. We've just now gotten to the 1 year live mark, and we've come quite a long way in a very short amount of time. This has all been built from scratch. We have a lot more plans, a lot more things that we want to do to make PMA become kind of your one stop for your marketing needs. So we're going to be developing out the asset library more thoroughly. You'll have opportunities to pitch straight from the platform to your distribution lists, and you know, really leverage PMA as not to replace HighSpot, but to maybe make it a little easier to find the content you look for and get it to the people you want it to go to, because that can be a challenge. We know that internally. We know that you're experiencing the same thing, surely. So at this point, it's like, where are you at in your journey? So if you're just getting started, the focus is simple. Subscribe to some categories, embed showcase pages, and send your first campaign. That's going to get you moving. You're building momentum, start layering tactics, Google Ads, banners. Banners huge. SEO, and then yeah, lead forensics is going to be your best friend. Just as important though, you need to put up uh, real effort into the follow up. That's where I think we're seeing some of the biggest challenges with partners is uh, you have to get into the platform all the time and look at what's there, respond to those leads, hand them off to a salesperson as quickly as possible, make sure they're following up. Also, if you do get some opportunities, we need you to be using the proper campaign. It's in the on HighSpot, tells you which campaign to use for any opportunities resulting from PMA activity. So that's how we're going to be able to keep providing this platform to you, is by proving that it's of value. So completely maximize your ROI. You know, that's when this is what Sherry was talking about before. All four tactics. You're using it, you're using them all, you're logging the opportunities, and you're tracking attribution. So you know what's working, we see it's working. Key point is, wherever you are, there is a clear next step. It's not all or nothing. Just, you know, take the steps one at a time and continue on. So so you know, everything we've shown you today is either available now or is coming very soon. Like I said, more things in the works, but so not asking you to rethink your entire strategy, just take an action, log into PMA, or request an account. I'll have the link up here in just a second, and then and get going. Um, I know we have some questions in the chat still. I'm looking at those. So if we want to start addressing those, or you can unmute yourself, raise your hand and unmute yourself and ask any questions you like, and we'll do our best to answer them here today. So Sherry, I see you've been answering some in the
Yeah.
chat. So do we have any outstanding? So I know Arno had
I think there was a lot of SEO questions. I think we've answered most of them.
okay. Well, let me go ahead and grab the link for the intake form. So the first step, if you don't have a PMA account right now, is to request one. So you'll fill out this form. I'll receive it within a few days. I'll send you back that your account's ready. You'll need to probably wait an extra 24 hours or so to before trying to purchase any Google ads, just because there is an extra step on the back end to make sure that your account's set up for that portion of the platform.
Sherry, Robert.
Mhm.
Hi, it's Arno from MyHTT.
Hi, Arno.
quick question. I'm looking at the all the leads that we got. I really can't figure out on that first table which ones are coming from lead forensics and which ones are not. I have to click on the link and then actually read. There's a paragraph of text that explains like lead forensics, but it's not clear to me which one is actually filling out the form or not. Could you maybe show us? I think you had a slide on
Yep.
that. Maybe if you wouldn't mind. Thanks.
Yep. I'm going to go in. I'm not going to share my screen, but I'm going to go into your system. So so if I just went into your leads, Arno. Yeah, this is a good example. See, it's Google Ads for Partners is a Google Ad lead. Google Ads for Partners dash showcase visits. If it says showcase visits, that's lead forensics. So that's just a company that we have detected on your site. So if it says showcase visits, it's lead forensics.
Okay, got
And you
it.
should be able to tell from the email text. Like if you read the email, I think it says we have detected this company on your site.
The email notification they all look the same. Like if it's a form fill or a lead forensic. So I click on the link inside the email and then I'm not sure. It's a surprise every time if it's an actual form fill or not.
Okay. Can you, okay, I'm going to go in and take a look at I'll take a look at the notifications, but I know I reviewed them before they launched the lead forensics one, and we did say have different text in the email itself. But if it's not clear, I'll go and take a look and make sure it's different enough because we want
Okay.
you should be actioning them differently. I agree with you. Yeah.
Great. Last comment.
Yep.
We have 4 accounts. So
Yep.
when I click on the link, I
Yep.
it doesn't tell me in the email which account it is. So
Oh, I can fix that
sometimes
easy enough. Okay. Yep.
okay,
I'll fix that.
you
Okay.
did fix it for the social media stuff, but not for the PMA
Okay.
Google Ads. So anyway, thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. Okay.
Um,
Other
well,
questions?
now's the opportunity to ask.
Yeah.
We've got Sherry here. She's a great resource. So if you have any questions, wait another couple minutes before closing out. But do want to
If
thank everybody who stayed on. And
if no one has questions, I have one thing else. Lead forensics. We have for on the MyIT website, we have a pixel, like we have a few systems that tell us what companies are visiting our website. So it's kind of the your lead forensics. So every day I get an email and I see which companies. We try to do like who visited or try to try to contact have visited our website. It's always been very difficult. So to be honest, like I don't know how we could really do some business intelligence around that. It does take a lot of time to try to figure out, if you're going to go, if you have a system like Zoom Info and you try to figure out who's going to
Mhm.
potentially interested or who did visit.
Mhm.
And some of those companies have thousands of employees, so it's
Mhm.
really difficult. If you have any tips for us, like on how to action that or uh,
Yeah. I mean, I would say, I mean, I kind of put this in the comments, but I mean, if you have an active deal, it's a really good trigger, right? So it's like, wow, I don't know, Carrefour was on our site. Oh, Francois over here is working on Carrefour. Hey, they were looking at the site. Like, there's a trigger, maybe reach out to your contact there and see if there's something, if you don't have an active deal going on and you're like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. We have been working with that particular company before, and what should we do with that? Then I think what I would do is I would look at that and say, okay, is that in my ideal customer profile? Is that a company I really care about? And if it's not, just delete it, or I don't know, keep note of it somewhere. If it is, like, maybe it's like, wow, we've really wanted to get into Numera, and we haven't really got in there yet, but somebody is looking at our website. Of course, you don't know who it is. But what I might do then is I might go onto LinkedIn, go into Numera and say, who's VP of product development or who's the director of software, whatever that happens to be, and try to find a couple of people and maybe put them into my email nurture list and see if something happens there. That's probably what I would do with it. Maybe
Yeah,
I would connect with
Thank
them
you.
on LinkedIn, but it's really at the top of the funnel, right?
a lot of times we talk about PMA, it is a, partner marketing automation. It's really also, we're looking at it as a pipeline generation tool. And so when you get a lead, to me, from lead forensics, I would start to hand that off to a salesperson right away. Let them start prospecting through that company because there's something there. There's a reason that there's somebody looking at Maya's simulation, some flow EFD or something, whatever it is. There's a reason that they're looking at it, and you may not in marketing have time to qualify that prospect that fully out. But a good, I mean, uh, depending on the company, it may be well worth a salesperson spending some time. That would be I would hand it off myself, especially when you see an exciting company. They appear more than once. I mean, shoot, that's clear intent that there's a need. Um, and so, I mean, this is a jumping off point, and especially because what we talk about with the funnel too is the knowns versus the unknowns. This is where you're going to start seeing some unknowns. That's another reason that the banner is so important too. Is so that partners or customers can get to these pages. And so, like, you have a pixel. That's great. Not everybody does that. We talked about that early on. We couldn't allow it on our, on Siemens wouldn't allow it on our page. So everything, that's why we keep everything with you. So, and then give you lead forensics. Not every partner has those, technologies available to them. So the other thing is looking at, so you got your PMA and then your pixel. I'm kind of curious from your side what correlation there is there. Like, are you seeing the same companies on your PMA pages as then seeing them, whether it's navigate off of a PMA page and go through your website, or are you seeing any overlap in those?
That's a great question. Lack of time is the biggest issue, like trying to connect those information. So I don't have an answer to your
Okay,
question,
yeah,
but
no,
it's a great question.
yeah, no, fair enough. I was just curious because I mean I think that, like I said, it's not it's as Sherry said earlier, somebody might visit. That doesn't mean they're going to buy from you today, but the more you start seeing names pop up, companies pop up, I mean, I think that that's where it becomes worth more time and effort, because we're all short on time, but that's where I would focus my attention back when I used to do this.
Robert, there's a
Thank you.
question about content. Somebody specializes in SimCenter Heats, so I'm sure people are have a question about other kinds of content too. Have you thought about what's next?
Yeah, so that's actually a conversation I was just having yesterday, with several people internally here from in the partner program, looking at where the two ways would just to be perfectly clear, the two ways we look at what's next is where are partners selling the most and what strategic initiatives does Siemens have. So, Altair, for example, we're working really hard to integrate the complete Altair product line into the Siemens story and offer it that way through the PMA platform. Now, that's obviously we're not selling a ton of it already because we just got it. But that's an example of a strategic area where we're going to put a lot of focus and put it in there. The other places, where are you already making money? Where are we making money through the partner program? And that's where, and so HEEDS, I don't have the spreadsheet open right now, but I do know HEEDS is in that range where we're going to need to start looking at it seriously, because um, partners are finding a lot of success with it, and so is Siemens. So it just makes sense that it would be on the roadmap. Everything takes time to develop. Everything has to be developed in several languages. It's really, one step at a time. And as I said earlier, the fact we are where we're at in under a year, or just at a year, is really kind of, I think, what I hear from the vendor who provides the platform is kind of mind-boggling. Like, they've not seen this ramp up before. So we're really excited about it, but we're not slowing down.
Oh, somebody has their hand up. You can come off mute. Is that Najla?
Yes, hello Sherry, hello
Hi.
Robert.
Hi.
It's Najla from Percol. Well, thank you for the presentation. And I only have a question about the mailing parts. Actually, for some campaigns, sometimes I wanna send the mail in the recipient's mother tongue, like in French or in Dutch, for example. But sometimes I don't find the contents in these languages. I only find it in English. So I'm just wondering if you're gonna consider these points in what's coming.
So the actual assets, are you talking about the communications or the assets? Because the
She's
assets,
talking about the emails themselves.
Oh.
And so Najla, so you have a French account, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the emails you find would be in French, but you're asking about wanting to send them in, say, Dutch.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting question because you would need to, hold on. Let me just see if I can do it. Hold on. Let me just check something. If I go into my profile and I click Dutch,
just having separate accounts for different countries make the most sense.
I'm wondering if I can, if I change my language, hold on one sec. I'm just going to see if I can see the different language content. No, it's in French. Yeah, so I think what you were saying, Robert, is that, so what I was just testing, I was changing my language of my, as the user to see if my content changed, but it doesn't. It just changes my experience.
Yeah,
So,
unfortunately, we may have to just, set up an account for each country in which you wish to.
yes.
Then
Yes, that's the easiest way to do it, Najla. So you
Takes me a
could set
couple
up an account in the other languages, and then you would have access to all of their like local language content.
you just fill out the intake form. Once you've done it once, it probably goes really quick. Couple minutes is usually the average, like, 'cause it shows me how long people take. And so,
Yeah.
if you just fill that out for each country you want, I'll set up an account for each of those locations.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Excellent. Well, this was definitely information-packed session, Sherry. Great job.
Yeah.
Lead forensics.
Thanks.
It's
Yeah,
so
a lot of
exciting.
information. We could have done an hour on each of those individual topics. So I hope we didn't go too fast for everybody. And please, if you have any questions, Robert and I will happily answer whatever you have.
Absolutely. And if there's enough interest, I think we need to do an SEO specific session and
Sure.
need to probably
Maybe
have-
another Google Ads one too, because
Yeah,
we didn't get a
that's-
whole lot of questions about that today, but we often do. So, even
Yeah.
if we do a 30-minute Google ad and a 30-minute SEO, we could set something like that up.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for staying on. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.